Should you buy a cheaper Mark 7 VW Golf, or should you buy a more expensive, newer Mark 8 VW Golf? Well, today we are going to find out, but not only that, we are going to test this newer car's 0 to 60, it's 30 to 70, it's real world MPG. Will it do its claimed figure? See how loud this car is on the motorway. Is it quieter than an old Golf? The old one did 72.3 decibels. What is this new one going to do? And of course, we're going to see how fun this car is to drive. So let's get into it, shall we? So the Golf we have here today is your pretty bog standard R-Line. It's got a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. This is the 130 horsepower version, so we've got 130 horsepower, 200 newton meters of torque, and we have a lovely 6-speed manual gearbox. All that power goes to the front wheels alone because obviously we don't have 4Motion. This is not a Golf R, this is an R-Line. So my first question is, can it put the power down? Well, it's only 130 horsepower, so probably is going to be my answer. Let's start off with the 30 to 70 sprint and see where this car sits on the leaderboard. So then how did we do on the 30 to 70 sprint? Well, we're right around where we should be really for a 130 horsepower manual car. We did 8.75 seconds, which is slightly quicker than the slightly lesser powered BMW 118i manual and slightly slower than a VW Golf with a DSG. Anyway, I'd say it's still just about quick enough. Right, before we get on the road, let's have a quick look at the Mark 8's interior. Now, you've all probably seen what the interior of this car looks like, so today we're going to focus on wear and tear. This car is 3 years old, and is there any wear on the seats? There's not really any on the driver's bolster yet. Tiny bit there, very small bit, and then that is not actually wear, that is dead skin. Yummy. That definitely needs cleaning off. But all touch points, things like the steering wheel, still look fairly new to me. All the squidgy materials, are they still squidgy? Yes, they are, but seems like there's less squidgy materials in the newer car than the old one. By the way, if you want to see us review the old one, I'll put a link up in the top right hand corner now, and you can see what a 120,000 mile, over 10-year old VW Golf looks like inside. Doesn't seem to be anywhere on the passenger seat, probably because this was a single person. VW Golf owners usually are. Very little wear on the armrest. There is a little bit of storage down here. The net obviously still works. How damped is the glove box? Is it as damped as the old one? Oh, yes it is. But it is not felt lined like the old car is. That is definitely a minus point for the newer Mark 8. I do quite like this though. This looks quite nice. This little textured material, quite cool. Coming to the back, it's fairly similar in terms of room compared to the old Golf. In terms of wear and tear, nothing really to talk about in here. The only thing that you will notice is that unlike the older Mark 7 Golf, this is now plastic. That used to be soft touch materials. Very naughty VW. Then coming to the boot, you still use the badge to open it up. I love that feature, always have done. It's the same in my BMW 1 Series as well. We've got a 12-volt socket, some shopping hooks either side. Do we have underfloor storage? Yes, we do. Enough storage for a spare wheel, actually. And if I fold the seats down, can I do it from the back? No, I can't. Couldn't do that in the old car anyway, so that's not really a minus point. Are there holders for the seat belt? No. But can I fold this down if I squidge the headrest in? Yes, I can. Doesn't get blocked. Nice. So all in all, I think it's a newer looking interior, but there is definitely some cost cutting going on. What do you guys think though? What do you think of the design? Firstly, I'm not going to give you my opinion because you guys have eyes. You can see what the car looks like. And what do you think of the interior? Do you think it's nicer and higher quality than the old car? Or do you think it just looks newer and they've definitely done some cost cutting? Let me know in the comments. For now though, let's get on the road and see how this car performs in the real world. Okay then, starting off around town, how does this compare to the old Mark 7? Well, steering is immediately noticeable because it's faster. It feels like a Mark 7.5 Golf R's steering rack to me. Over bumps, it feels about the same in terms of stiffness, but it feels quite soft, but we're running on very small wheels. I think they're the smallest wheels you can get on this thing. So far kind of feels similar, but a little bit sharper, I guess. The steering just being faster gives you the impression that it's sportier. Gear shift feels pretty much identical to me. Torque from the engine, yeah, pretty much the same. It's actually quite a nice engine, this, even though it's a 1.5 litre. The 2 litre petrol, the EA 888, I've always kind of preferred, just because it feels meatier and it feels like it's not always relying on the turbo too much. Whereas this definitely relies a lot on the turbocharger to give you that power and that torque. Seats feel about the same to me. It's all kind of like, feels like 2% better at the minute. The steering's the main thing though. The steering's definitely better in the newer car. One thing that's not so good about the steering wheel are these haptic touch buttons. I know why VW did it, is because it looks fancier without you touching it, and it's probably cheaper than having a load of separate buttons. But yeah, they're not that pleasant to use. And if you go for a Golf R, you'll know just how annoying they are, because your R mode, your drive mode, is down here, and you end up pressing it constantly when you're driving the car, which can be a little bit annoying. Anyway, in terms of parking this thing, just as easy as the old Golf. Visibility is pretty much the same. We've got parking sensors all round, which is nice. And getting into a space in one go. Can I do it? Yes, I can. Plenty of steering angle, even though we have a faster steering rack, which is nice. Then, once you're in park, yeah, you can easily get to the first notch on the door. Clutch pedal, throttle pedal, brake pedal, easy to modulate. It's just very easy to drive. Coming into junctions, just give it half throttle. Don't want to burn the clutch. And then full throttle. Yeah, it gets up to speed fine. Could be a little bit faster, and the tone of this 1.5 litre engine isn't quite as nice as the 2 litre. But, you know, if you want the 2 litre engine, you may as well get the GTI. But for driving around town, the difference is negligible, which to me means, like, why are you going for the newer car? This should be noticeably better, really. It's just the steering being faster that I quite like. Now then, of course, as I said in the intro, we are going to test our MPG today. And this thing is supposed to do 57 miles per gallon on the combined cycle. I don't think it's going to do that, in all honesty. But that is a WLTP figure, and we are going to do about 14 miles today. Most of it on the motorway, so it's got a fair chance of doing quite well. Because the extra urban figure is nearly 70 mpg, which, to be honest, I don't believe one iota. Before we see the results of that though, let's see how fast this can get up to speed on the motorway and see how quiet this thing is inside. Okay then, let's see what this Golf is like coming onto the motorway just in comfort mode. Not that the drive modes really change how fast this car accelerates. Let's use the torque of the engine. We got a turbocharger, so let's use it. 2000 revs, third gear, foot down. Off we go. And of course it's raining today. Third gear all the way up to 70. Yeah, plenty of punch, isn't it, really, for a daily driver? More power would be nice, but this is very much adequate. Then, once you are on the motorway, if you do want to accelerate quickly, you do have to change down a gear. Otherwise, yeah, come on, there we go. Yeah, that's the one annoying thing about having slightly less power, is that you do have to row the gears a bit. But, you know, if you like driving, it's quite good fun, really. And in 6th gear, let's just see what the acceleration is like. So pull over into the left-hand lane. I slow down to about 60, so we're at 2000 revs. Plant my foot now. Yeah, you can see what I mean. There's a bit of a lack of torque, even with the turbocharger. But you do get up to 70 eventually. And if you're sitting in the left-hand lane and the middle lane, you don't necessarily need to row through the gears too much, which is nice. Now, one thing that's always been present in Golfs, certainly the Mark 7 onwards, has been this lovely adaptive cruise system. So you press this button here, press your speed. I want 70 miles an hour, please. Set. And I did it wrong. But yes, you get the idea. 70 miles an hour, and you can set the distance between you and the driver in front. We want the closest distance, because otherwise people pull in front of you. And then you've got lane assist as well. It's not lane like lane keeping, it's just lane keep assist. So it's not going to basically steer completely for you, but it's absolutely fine. It gets the job done. And it's very nice actually. Once you're on the motorway, 6th gear, obviously you can go into 6 from about 40 miles an hour. So unless you're in stop and start traffic, you can basically just leave the car in 6th gear and it'll do all the driving for you, which is quite nice. Anyway, let's see what MPG this thing will do and how loud it is inside. Can it beat the Mark 7 at 72.3 decibels? Hopefully it should. Okay then, well, we had a pretty crappy run today, unfortunately. We only managed to get up to 70 miles an hour once, which brings me on to the decibel level. Can you guess what we did? That's right, we did exactly the same as the old Golf. We did 72.3 decibels. And the one thing I will say though, is that this is on smaller wheels, which definitely helps with NVH levels. So, I think if you had the same size wheels on both cars, this would actually be a little bit noisier inside. I mean, it's still fundamentally a very quiet car to travel in though, isn't it? And in terms of MPG, we are currently sitting at 48 miles per gallon. And that was in traffic. So, do you know what? You've got a very fair shot of doing 57 miles per gallon in this thing. I think you're going to easily do it, in all honesty. But will this car easily do its claimed 0 to 60 time of 9.2 seconds? It's a bit of a damp day today, and this is a manual car, so I don't really want to be that mean to the clutch in this thing and the gearbox, but we'll give it our best shot. Let's see what she can do. There's no beating around the bush here. This is the slowest time we've ever done 0 to 60. But having said that, pretty much every car we've tested so far has had an automatic gearbox and a lot more power. Something like a Mercedes CLA 180 actually has fairly similar power to this Golf, but obviously I'm changing gears myself, and as much as I like to toot my own horn, I'm definitely not faster at shifting than a multi-clutch automatic gearbox. Alrighty then, let's finish up on some B roads after that slightly disappointing 0 to 60 time. So, sports mode, 3rd gear. Steering is definitely better than the old car. Chassis, do you know what? Feels a little bit flatter actually. I won't lie, over bumps, obviously having a lot of tyre sidewall on these smaller rims definitely helps. It does feel a little bit more composed actually. Quite surprised. It feels more eager to turn into a corner, and that's not just because the steering's a little bit faster. The chassis definitely wants to rotate just a little bit more. It's nice. It's one gripe I had with the Mark 7 is that whilst you could get it to move around, you had to put in quite a lot of effort to do that, whereas this, you have to put in less effort to get more. But will it hit 60 before the corner? Maybe. Starting off in 2nd to avoid wheel hop. Ooh, no, we got to 54. Bailing there. Shape of the steering wheel is a little bit nicer as well actually. Kind of easy to heel and tow. Ooh, a little bit lollopy there. But overall, very composed for a road car. You're certainly never going to get pear-shaped in this thing, or if you do, you really do not know what you're doing and shouldn't be behind the wheel of a car. And do you know what? It's actually got enough power to have a little bit of fun with. And I think that's mainly because this thing, even though it's only got 130 odd horsepower, it only weighs 1.2 tons, this car. One thing I wouldn't do is put an aftermarket exhaust on this thing though. It definitely doesn't sound good enough to have one. Throttle response is pretty good as well on a B road, even if you're in kind of the wrong gear at like 2000 revs. You get pretty immediate boost, which is nice. Overall though, definitely about 15% better on a B road. Just feels a bit more accomplished. Feels a little bit less heavy over the front end. But does that mean you should buy this over the old one? Well, remember, obviously this is a newer car, so it's going to be more expensive. You're looking at like an extra 8 grand to get one of these. over a Mark 7 or a Mark 7.5 even. About exactly the same loudness on the inside when you're on the motorway. Fuel economy is pretty good. It's a tough decision. I personally prefer the looks of the Mark 7.5, so the facelifted Golf, especially if you're going for like the GTI. I think it looks really tidy, that car. I think unless you're going for like a GTI Club Sport, like a red GTI Club Sport, looks awesome on the Mark 8. Looks so nice. R-Line for R-Line. I think I'm going to go with the older car, to be honest. It's easier to navigate the menu in it. It's got more physical buttons, and it's pretty much just as good to drive. And you're saving £8,000. And the other thing that I've noticed in this car is rattles. You don't get that so much in the Mark 7. I've driven a lot of Mark 7s and Mark 7.5s, and they rarely rattle as much as this car does. Unfortunately, this newer car, they've just cut costs a little bit too much. You know, plastic on the door trim in the rear seats, and just generally a bit more plastic everywhere. Also, like the soft touch materials are definitely not quite as squidgy as they used to be. My advice is just go for the older car. I think the old one is better. Anyway, as always, I hope you enjoy content like this. If you did, please give us a like and why not subscribe, as not you can see more content like this. You can see everything we have for sale, which of course includes the car in this video. If you don't want to take my advice and buy the older car, you're perfectly welcome to buy this newer one. And as always, links will be down in the description below for our generic website and for this particular car. But anyway, my name has been Tom, and you have been watching Paragon Cars. I'll see you guys on the next one. Cheers.